Now we're going to be interviewing Chris Harrison, a former NFL player who's played with the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, as well as our local Baltimore Ravens in his NFL career, which lasted several years. And we want to talk to him about his experiences here with Dr. Wright. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Rocco. How you doing?
Oh, good. It's great to have you with us as well.
Appreciate you.
Now, you're a former NFL player, and obviously you're a patient of Dr. Wright's.
Yes.
And I wanted to begin by asking you if you could tell us about the effects of post-facial trauma, which is what I understand you experienced after your NFL career was over.
Yes.
Can you elaborate? Tell us a little about it.
Well, I developed TMJ, which
Okay.
is basically grinding and clenching of the jaw, and it causes facial pain, jaw pain, neck pain.
Okay.
And I started developing it while I was in high school. And as I played through my college career and pro career, it got progressively worse.
So that's when it started, even going way back. We're not just talking pros.
Yeah.
You said high school.
Yeah, I started playing football at about the age of 8.
Okay.
And so as I developed with football, the TMJ developed and got worse.
So then what happened from there? It got worse, and then it went through your pro career as well.
Yeah, I went through my pro career, and as I guess as medicine, or the medical field developed, with TMJ, there really wasn't a lot of treatment for it. They used STEM, which is like an electrical stimulation of the joint.
Sure.
I wore a mouth guard of varying degrees, but nothing that was really customized to the effect that Dr. Wright customizes his mouth guards. And then there was also medication, muscle relaxants. And it got to a point now in my life where I had severe pain, jaw pain, a lot of sleepless nights. And I had a mouth guard. It was probably before Dr. Wright fitted me for his, an eighth of an inch thick, almost a half an inch thick.
Okay. Now, I'm sure you feel that you wish you had come to Dr. Wright, obviously during your playing career,
Right.
to have this custom-fitted mouth guard that you
Yes.
just touched on, as opposed to the other stuff, the standard off-the-shelf stuff that you were using before.
And that's a good term for it. Everything that I was treated with before was off the shelf for pretty much for like the general public.
Whether it was team doctors
Team
or whether
doctors
it was
or-
literally
yeah.
out of the stores.
Literally, a lot literally
Yeah.
out of the stores. As I got into my pro careers, we had a custom fitted mouthpiece, but it really wasn't the type of mouthpiece that Dr. Wright has developed, nor was the time and effort taken to study and analyze the individual person's jaw alignment and so on and so forth.
Vince Fuller earlier, prior to you, the other patient that we interviewed was talking about the concussion-like symptoms that so many players get because they're not fitted with the right customized mouth guard and the protection that they don't receive that they should, but that is done here when you come to Dr. Wright to get it.
Yeah, it's all interrelated. And football has become a much more violent sport, even since I played, because of the size, the strength, and the speed of the athletes.
Sure.
Anything, especially a device like Dr. Wright's that can be developed, that can help any head injury or head trauma, is moving the science light years ahead of where it is or where it was in the past.
So let me fast forward and ask you, what brought you to Dr. Wright? Why him?
I'd been to different doctors across the country, depending on where I was living at the time, and then had various treatments, none that really treated the problem long term. And then, in talking to Dr. Wright and explaining what my symptoms were, he offered his assistance. And just the comfort level I felt coming into his office and seeing how detailed he was with his treatment and the number of tests that he did, the symptom analysis and so on and so forth, began to ease the stress of my problem. And as we progressed through the treatment, it's done nothing but help. And we're on a track now to alleviate the problem altogether.
Well, I'm certainly happy to hear that, and based on what you just said, I take it wearing the customized fitted mouth guard now and coming to Dr. Wright and having gone through the treatments that you have, that it's changing your life for the better.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've had a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of jaw pain, and with something like TMJ that is a chronic injury, you start to feel like this is going to be something that you just have to deal with for the rest of your life. But now I see kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's a huge relief. It's a huge stress relief, and it helps with my physical well-being as well.
Well, I'm certainly happy to hear that. And on a side note, being a local guy, I take it you and I were talking off camera. You're into real estate development now.
Yes.
A life after football.
Yes,
That's
definitely,
great. A
definitely.
businessman.
Gotta have a life after football.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
forgot for those UVA alumnus out there that are watching, just so I don't discriminate, because I already mentioned Vince Fuller being from Virginia Tech. Chris Harrison is from UVA. He's a Cavalier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. On that note, I'd like to thank you for joining us, Chris, and being a guest in our program.
Thank you, Rocco.
It was our pleasure.
Pleasure meeting you.
Great. So besides celebrities and pro football players, for the viewers out there watching, Dr. Wright, I wanted to ask you, who would you feel is a good candidate for a customized mouth guard?
Anyone, whether you're participating in contact sports such as football and lacrosse, or non-contact sports such as just weightlifting, your average jogger, or your stay-at-home mom for that matter. Just any time that you're under a lot of stress, you feel yourself clenching or grinding your teeth, and it's a situation which you're over-exasperating your muscles or your jaw and in your teeth form. We want to protect it. We want you to be in equilibrium and stress-free.
Yes, indeed. So pretty much everyone out there watching could benefit from a customized mouth guard.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's also important to remember that when you're a child and you're growing, and we have many children that participate in contact sports these days, the best method of prevention of future deformities is to wear an athletic guard. And how better to do that than to have a customized guard that prevents things from happening down the road that may affect a future athletes who may even become a professional athlete's performance.
Now, Dr. Wright, we've obviously discussed folks who can benefit from the customized mouth guard, athletes, pro athletes, and others who have busy or athletic-oriented lifestyles. What about folks who aren't playing sports or who are former athletes?
Well, it's funny that you asked, because we've quite recently had a number of former athletes. These are players that used to play in the Super Bowl, and they weren't wearing guards at a time. And that's why I spoke earlier of the necessity of making mouthpieces mandatory. You know, these particular patients aren't able to sleep at night. They aren't able to function like we do every day because they have that existing condition of pain, muscle spasm, actually clicking in their jaw when they speak. So we're trying to address that not through a mouth guard anymore, but through a splint, where we're trying to reestablish the musculature to compensate for the damaged disc or the condyle, which is, you know, part of the jaw structure, and to give them an everyday quality of life, sort of like ours.
So for the folks out there that are watching that could certainly benefit from the customized mouth guard, they contact your office. What happens next? What's the process?
Well, again, diagnosis and a complete thorough examination is of essence. We'll bring them in for a consultation appointment. We'll do the necessary scans or imaging, and we'll actually test the musculature to make certain they pass certain standards in order to ensure that the mouth guard that we're fabricating aren't causing more harm or causing predisposing factors to be overlooked. And that's where Dr. Willis here, with her TMJ background, would be very influential.
So basically you work as a team.
Absolutely.
And the patient would come in, they would meet with you, possibly both of you, and then just go through the evaluation process to see if they're an ideal candidate for a customized mouth guard.
You're absolutely correct.
I understand your office here, your practice is fully equipped with state-of-the-art technology, Dr. Wright and Dr. Willis. And I wanted to ask you, Dr. Wright, if you can tell us a little bit about the technology that you have here.
The mouth guard is fabricated using 3 different layers. Each layer, we're going to say the first, is actually a soft layer to absorb the blow, to absorb the force. The second layer is a little bit harder, more resistant material. And then the final layer is again another absorbent layer to prevent trauma to the opposing teeth as they come together.
Now we've only got a few moments left, and I wanted to ask you both if you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers, and if you could start us off, Dr. Willis.
Sure. I'd just like to close by saying that, you know, facial pain, whether you're an athlete or you're not an athlete, is something you don't have to live with. It's not normal. There are solutions, and we can help you find those solutions, and at the same time, hopefully improve your athletic performance and get you something that you enjoy wearing because it looks nice.
And what about you, Dr. Wright?
Well, I wanted to close by stating that you know, we don't have to use pharmaceuticals as a band-aid, as a cure. There's no reason that you have to endure life in pain, and that there's hope and we can help.
Yes, indeed. Not to mention the preventive approach that these customized mouth guards also provide for the folks who might be younger or have, they don't want these problems and end up having to take medications as they get older in life, like others that you just touched on.
Absolutely.
So on that note, I'd like to thank you both, Dr. Wright, Dr. Willis, for joining us and being guests on our program. It was our pleasure having you both on.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.